So along the lines of boycotts, the idea that you're going to turn this thing around, this attorney says the precedent is set nationally that if you sue as a gambler or a fan, you don't have a chance to win.
Yeah.
They generally get thrown out because courts have held that the plaintiffs don't have standing to sue. In this particular framework, the promoter is the fighter. All of a sudden, Tyson gets magically healthy enough to fight, looking like a shell of himself compared to his training videos. So you bought into the farce. That's
it's true.
look, you're fun. You're a sucker.
Yes.
You put your money up on this thing. Now, if you were betting Jake Paul, you're naturally happy, thinking, wow, this was the easiest money I ever made. But, I mean, the indicator should have been that the guy was being carried out of a plane on a stretcher for some kind of bizarre fact of an ulcer 2 fucking months ago. And instead, we're looking at these training videos and going, hey, it looks pretty sharp to me. I wouldn't want to get in there with him.
Yeah, he's punching that bag. I always love when they punch the bag and everyone gets excited.
You may as well have gone to some bar where they have that thing where they measure the might of
where you punch it one time.
Put
Ooh.
the $5 in there and go, whoa, look at that, a 700. This guy's fucking tough. I wouldn't want to meet him.
Like, look, it's again. You watch. There's nothing wrong with. I'm not mocking people who watch it. I don't care. It was free on Netflix.
I mean, to watch it, it's entertainment. Some form.
I don't judge people for what they watch, but to then bet on it and then be mad that you bet on it.
You motherfuckers, you ripped me off.
What are you doing?
The time.
Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
All right, very pleasant. Good morning, everybody. We're in full holiday mode. Good morning, everyone. Jeff DeForest. We got Mike Lubie Lubitz. Holiday edition. Holiday week begins. We often speculated in the past, Lubie, about when do people officially check out for the year. This is pretty much the week, isn't it? Nothing gets done in any offices. Now, people stop going to offices. 2019, 2020. Many people have returned, though, to going back to the office. Is that not the case, Lubie? We have not, however, been on our own for the last several years, ever since. And I still cringe every time I see Brady Quinn. I don't know why. Good-looking guy. Seems to be articulate. I don't know that he's speaking to the masses here in South Florida when he's on the radio with that national show they have. But nonetheless, we were replaced by Brady Quinn in a national Fox show. Now we were just, the forerunners to a trend that has now become
everywhere.
Just a massive cremation of the radio industry. Because if you look at what's going on, headlines in the industry, iHeartMedia letting go of thousands of people. I mean, they're blowing out like whole news departments.
Yeah.
At stations that are doing all news. They're just blowing everybody out. So, unfortunately, we were victimized by it early. I don't know. I don't know that it's a bad thing. We've had plenty of time to make the adjustment, and you can't look to the past, right, Lubie? You have to just keep moving forward. That's what it's all about. Just like your Miami Dolphins, who at 2-6, people were in all kinds of anxiety attacks about season's over. Chris Greer's got to go. Mike McDaniel doesn't know what he's doing. We saw the reinsertion of Tua Tagovailoa, who people were suggesting should retire because his head was like a marshmallow. Only a matter of time. And that may turn out. I mean, sadly, that still could be a circumstance that comes about. We're not rooting for it. Because the kid's a good kid, very dedicated, and you have to respect, as any kind of athlete, have to respect the fact that he loves what he's doing. He could have gotten himself paid a massive amount of guaranteed money, whatever's guaranteed on his contract that he signed, but I would imagine it's a substantial portion of the, what did he sign, like $160 million deal, $125? Was it more? No, it was two something, wasn't it?
No, it was two. Wasn't it $50 million a year for 4 years? Was it 4 or 5 years?
No, it was massive.
It was like $250.
So what portion of that is guaranteed? You would have to think 70% of it, something along those lines. If Deshaun Watson got a fully guaranteed deal, which we know to be a very...
the Deshaun Watson's a disaster. But I think it was like $160 million was guaranteed. Like, okay. I think 70% was guaranteed or something like that.
So he could have walked away with $160 million and said, hey, thank you very much. Have to respect the fact that he wanted to play. He comes back and razor sharp. I don't know that we've seen a sharper quarterback in a long, long time. Holy fucking Drew Brees. This guy completes every pass or there comes close to it. And I mean, the way he throws that mid-range 15 to 20 yard pass as well as anybody that we've seen. I mean, he really slings that thing. So the Dolphins with an impressive win. That was good, and they're now on a roll. Lubie, 5-6. Now they've beaten the Patriots, who are terrible. They beat the Raiders, who aren't very good, and they did go on the road and beat the Rams in a Sunday night game. Was that Sunday or a Monday night game? But whatever it was a
Monday night game.
National spotlight game. They went on the road and they did a very good job against the Los Angeles Rams, who have been having a decent season under Sean McVay. And certainly, if you're going to have a coaching matchup, you would have to say that going against McVay, you have to be razor sharp, regardless of what talent he has. And he does have some talent there with that Rams team, although it's been a little suspect at different times with Puka and Nakua and Cooper Kupp. Been banged up a little bit, although Nakua looked great yesterday. Man, is that guy something? He's just terrific to watch. I mean, watch a guy go over the middle like he does and make these catches in traffic. It's O.J. McDuffie City there with Puka Nakua. Kupp has come back a little bit, but nonetheless, that was the most impressive of the three victories, and they handled the Patriots with relative ease yesterday. Although my son Jesse had I think it was a 4-component parlay, $20 to win 800, Lubie. How about that? 20 to win 800. And he gets Jonnu Smith with the first touchdown. He had that. That had to be a pretty good price. Jonnu Smith also had an over-under prop of 30-some-odd yards, which he easily eclipsed in the first quarter of the game. Tua was over 1.5 touchdown passes. He had that through 4 in the ball game. However, he needed a touchdown anytime by Tyreek Hill to complete the parlay for $800.
Waddle was the one that got open yesterday.
Nothing with Tyreek Hill. Although there was a play early in the game where Tua is scrambling. The play had broken down. It was inside the 10-yard line, very deep in the red zone. And Tua is scrambling. And who does he throw to? Tyreek Hill. And the ball bounces off his fingertips. The throw was a little bit wide. Otherwise, imagine that this is what it comes down to, Libby, in today's gambling environment, where this fingertip grab, if he had made it, and we often see Tyreek Hill get open in these situations where there's a scramble in the end zone and everybody's running back and forth and circling around and doing all kinds of dipsy-doodle moves as a quarterback scrambling, and you're hoping they can just keep the play alive long enough to get a guy open. Didn't happen yesterday, so that was one I was watching with great interest. Other than that, I don't know that I had that much interest in the Dolphin game once they got up, 24-zip. It was pure ugliness. You could see this happening. The Patriots drive the ball on their first possession. They get into field goal range. They just finished putting the stats up. The field goal kicker for the Patriots was 19 of 22, I believe, or 19 of 21 on the season. Perfect day. It's not like he's going to have some guy come out with a John Deere tractor and clear off the field to get a kickoff. Blue skies, no wind. And, of course, he misses it. And you could see what was going to happen from there, that the other team gets the ball, marches it right down the field, scores, and the ball game's essentially over. The race was on from there. So good win by the Miami Dolphins yesterday. Hurricanes rallied late to overcome the spread in their game against Wake Forest. They were being challenged by Wake Forest early on. So
to the third.
Where does that leave us with the Hurricanes?
Well, the same team.
Dealing with the Cristobal factor, my friend?
They're good versus really bad teams. I've said that. Their defense is not good, and it was not good again. And their offense is good, but not as good as people think it is. They haven't played any. They've only played 2 decent defenses in FSU and Georgia Tech.
You kind of froze up on me there, Lubie. I hope you come back. Never a good sign.
They played as a horrendous. All
right, Lubie, you're spacing out here.
It should be good now.
In and out burger, my friend.
Yeah, I should be here now. They are what we thought they were. I mean, I think they're a good team. I don't think they're a great team. And I think they've gotten away. And look, if you look at it now, no one's played anyone. So that criticism of Miami is a criticism for literally every team we're looking at outside of Georgia. So I'll give them that. We'll see. I think if they played an SMU or a Clemson, they'd lose by 2 to 3 scores. I've said that all year, and I'm not changing that opinion. I think their offense is good, but I think it has major holes. I don't think they run the ball as well as they should. And I think Cam Ward loves to hold on to the ball for fucking ever and take a lot of really weird chances. And versus a good defense, they're going to salivate over that. And I think their defense is a fucking sieve. I think the defensive line that's supposed to be stacked gets no pressure, and they're average against the run, and their run stats are boasted by playing bad offenses. I think whenever they played a decent offense, they've run the ball. Literally, Georgia Tech ran for almost 300 fucking yards. Like when they played any kind of offense that's competent, they've run it down their goddamn throat, and that's something we've seen all year. So I think Cam Ward was a much needed addition because they'd have like 5 losses with this shitty ass schedule if it wasn't for Cam Ward. And even with Cam Ward, I think against a competent to good team, they'll lose. We'll see. I mean, I don't know what Syracuse will be, but they're at least average.
Can throw the ball. Well, we know that. Although they didn't throw the ball very well in a game that I bet on them. There's a McCord. Yeah, he threw like 6 picks in that ball game, 2 of which were pick sixes, both occurring in the first quarter of the game. So that was as ugly as it gets. And that was the game I predominantly watched of all of the Syracuse football this year. They cleaned up on some cupcake over the weekend on Saturday. I think McCord threw for like 400 yards. Could they pose a threat, Lubie, to the University of Miami, the Syracuse Orange?
I think they will.
Possibly could derail them. If that happens, then the likelihood would be that Clemson would end up playing SMU. Is that still the way that it works now?
That's
Miami
exactly
loses?
how it is.
Okay.
If both teams went out, I guess Miami has the nod, but if Miami loses, then Clemson gets in and Miami's done. They're not in the conference championship, and they're not going to get in the playoff if they have 2 losses.
Miami getting a bye would really be something, huh? But they would have to beat SMU to accomplish.
Yeah, I don't see that. We watched it. It's the weirdest thing that people are not paying any. Look, I get it's their first year in the ACC, and I don't know what they are long term. I don't think there's a long term program appearance into the ACC for SMU. But right now, they're the best team in the ACC, and it's not fucking close. Like ever since they've lost that first game, they're not only beating teams, they just fucking pummel them. Like, and they're not playing anyone worse than who Miami's playing or Clemson's playing. But for some reason, because they are SMU and it's Rhett Lashley, who's like a nice coach, but no one is thinking of him as a good coach. They're just sort of forgotten. And I guess it's good for them. Like you'd rather be the forgotten team that people underestimate so you can just punch people in the face. It's just weird to me to see the way they're treated. Like they're ranked like 14 or in 13. And it's like, dude, they have 1 loss and they're just pulverizing teams. Like I don't, what do you want from them?
I wouldn't bet University of Miami to win anything past if they do get into the postseason. I don't know that they win their first game, even if they get the bye. If they end up as ACC champions, they don't blow people away like you remember Hurricane teams doing.
Oh, my Canes.
And of course, the soft schedule makes it really tough to get any kind of a legitimate judgment as to what exact caliber of quality the Hurricanes are exhibiting. We know that Cam Ward's had a great season. He broke Bernie Kosar's 1984 records for pass completions in a season, yards in a season. So that's impressive. The kid's been impressive. There's no doubt about that. Restrepo is excellent. By the way, I mean, what are they paying Restrepo to be a part of that roster? He just bought his girlfriend, fiance, I guess they're getting married, a $200,000 marry me gift. That's pretty cool, right? Cam Ward bought all of his offensive linemen, like what looked to be extremely expensive diamond jewelry. And so good. The kids are finally winning there.
Oh, they're making money.
I mean, all that television revenue that's coming in, imagine that for years. Colleges got away without paying these guys a dime. Tony is going to join us today. Tony Segreto. Remember, he used to defend that on the show, and we used to rail against him and say, what the fuck are you talking about, Tony?
The scholarship. Okay.
Out of respect to Tony, we didn't go too heavy on the speculation that maybe it had lost its mind, but the whole thing about the scholarship. A scholarship compared to the billions of dollars that are being generated. I mean, every game is on TV. You see Lehigh versus Liberty, and that's being televised.
100%.
You could have never conceived of that 10, 15 years ago. So every game's on TV. They're all making a fortune off the television revenue and the advertising and the marketing and all of this stuff. It's about time the kids got their share. We know that. But they're getting a pretty hefty share. And the competition, you see what a difference it makes. Cam Ward goes to FSU. Maybe Mike Norvell is not losing sleep every night, wondering if he's going to keep his job. Cam Ward comes to the University of Miami, and a horrible coach like Mario Cristobal ends up looking pretty good. True. I mean, is it not? Meanwhile, I mean, chaos everywhere, Lubie. You're the big college football fan among the two of us. I mean, I like college football a lot. I follow it, and of course, I have an interest in the Miami Hurricanes doing well. Like to see that happen, going back to the glory years. But that sort of dissipated over time. I don't get emotionally involved with the Hurricanes like I might have in the past, right? Where you were screaming. I used to be not like you. I was never quite as nuts
No, I'm
as you
old.
were, but I used to be one of those guys that you'd be on the air for a week defending some call that was made, either in favor of the Hurricanes or railing away at something that went against them. Um, Sort of indifferent to it now, but just watching from an observer standpoint. But yeah, I mean, it's been chaos. Right? SEC,
Oh,
we don't
this
know what's
weekend
going
was
on there.
that was
Gators all of a sudden look a lot better than they did. They beat Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. That was impressive and maybe unfathomable just a few short weeks ago when everybody was jumping on a bandwagon that they had to fire their coach. And all of a sudden, he looks pretty good. Alabama losing outright. That was a strange one. In fact, with our your bookie show, and I have another show that features the same guys on the Bleacher Brothers Network called License to Steal. And we try to handicap some games for you every week. The professor's part of it. Our friend Troy West is involved. Mike Jones, I think, has been on this show. And he's doing some handicapping for us. And Scotty M., who we've known for many, many years. If one of those guys, if you're traveling over the weekend and one of those guys or any of our guys are sitting next to you on the plane, you might want to raise your hand and ask if you could jump over. Professor 1 and 2 last week. Troy 1 and 2. Mike went 1 and 2, and Scotty M an unusual 0 and 3. As a lot of people just got blasted out of the water trying to handicap games. The pros interesting all the way around. Dolphins now go against Green Bay over the Thanksgiving holiday. In fact, the Thanksgiving games. What do you think, Louis? We're going to have to try and formulate an opinion on this.
probably legit.
Cowboys look like they should destroy the Giants. That was the most improbable result. That not
Well-
only did the Cowboys cover the 10.5-point spread, getting 10.5 against the Washington Commanders on the road, but they won the game outright. And the fashion in which they won the game was absolutely bizarre.
That was ridiculous.
Oh, my God.
It's a fucking extra point. Make the goddamn extra. You get a score with like 30 seconds left, like a bomb, which is it is the one thing you don't do when a team has 27 seconds and has to go the length of the field for a touchdown. So of course the Cowboys give up the bomb touchdown.
They're so worried about protecting the sideline and keeping the guy in bounds that they let the guy run right through him for a touchdown. And you're thinking, oh my God, how could you possibly lose this game if you were the Dallas Cowboys? You talk about a team that seemed to be cursed. And then a little bob, the snap was bad. Is that enough to excuse the kicker?
Yeah,
You missed an extra point earlier in the game that turned out to be a big factor in the dynamics of the scoreboard. Kickers were extreme. I said this last week. You should be. There should be an amendment. Amendment 16 or whatever in the state of Florida should be. You should be allowed to kill a kicker.
At least hit his leg.
Something. Just make sure that the guy and never walks out on a field again. But it's incredible how the dynamic of games change. And like I said, I mean, even in I don't know, the Patriots were going to get blown out anyway, but that certainly doesn't help when a team that's desperate and you're thinking is going to be hard pressed to score a lot of points in a game, even against a weak Miami defense, which you've been railing against all year. So they'll be tested against Green Bay. Bunch of other stuff happening over the week. The Heat with an overtime victory over a Luka Doncic Dallas Maverick team. They had to go to overtime to do it. Jimmy Butler with a dramatic dunk with 4 seconds to go. I didn't see this game, Lubie, so I'm hard-pressed to really give you any kind of legitimate commentary on it, but it was good to see that they ended up prevailing because that would have been an ugly spot to lose. And the Panthers all of a sudden have fallen apart at the seams, Lubie. What is going on?
Oh, God, that's not
Did that trip to Finland catch up with them? And they're having late post jet lag because I think they've lost 3 in a row now, and they got hammered in their game yesterday. And of course, Jim Sarney wanted us to lead with this, that South Carolina, the women's team, lost to UCLA. UCLA was 0-20 when the UCLA women, anyway, 0-20 when facing the top-ranked team in the country through their history. And they managed to just crush South Carolina, who had won, 43 straight, Lubie? 43 straight games. For
That's why that's a big deal. Oh, wow, good for them. Okay.
Yeah, you were just thinking Sarney's crazy, right?
Yeah, I had no idea.
I'm getting back at Sarney, though, for all of this shit that he provides, which is, I I don't know. In South Carolina, would sports shows be leading with the fact that the
No.
Gamecocks women team lost a regular season game on the road against UCLA after rattling off
No,
43?
their football team has played really well to the point where they're now trying to make that like the eighth SEC team that should make the playoffs.
I'm bombarding Sarni with pictures of female bowlers bowling strikes. For some reason, that keeps popping up on my Facebook page. Because I guess once you click on a reel of some sort, they keep bombarding you with more of the same. Do you find that, Lubie?
Yes.
That if you click on once, I mean,
Oh, you can't click. Yeah, once you click, you're fucked for a while.
the woman that's featured in most of them, a young girl, and she appears to be. If she's not a top pro, I'd be amazed because just a beautiful line that she takes. Whatever lane she happens to be on. I mean, if she has to kick the ball way out wide, it'll hover over the gutter 2 feet from the pins, and then boom, right into the pot. I love that. It was like watching Mark Roth back in the day, where you're thinking, a fucking gutter ball? Are you kidding me? And it would be hovering on the gutter and then make a left turn and smash right into the 1-3 pocket. You were a bowler, Lubie. You know what that's like. Did you have this wide sweeping hook by any chance?
No. It was
Did you have a smooth release, or did your thing go almost and hit the ceiling and then land
it was smooth. A slide hook. Yeah, I didn't do all that crap. The big fucking where you start on the left and then it goes all the way to the right and comes back. I had a buddy and he didn't even use the hand. Like he would use like one, like a thumb.
There are some people that do palm the ball even on a professional level.
He would drop the shit and he didn't even know what the fuck he was doing, but he would kill it. I was like, what the hell?
Oh, that's real smooth. I mean, the main featured woman, and then everybody else bowls a strike that they feature in the reels. I doubt it would make much sense for somebody to just feature a gutter ball unless something bizarre happened on the shot. But I just been bombarding him with this, overwhelming him every time I see one. I send him a text and he's asking me what my obsession with bowling is. It's the same as this,
obsession with nonsense.
Leading off after an NFL Sunday and a wild college football Saturday and talking about Italy winning the Davis Cup. Jim, what are you talking about? What is wrong with this man?
I don't give a shit.
He just does it to hear his name mentioned. I know
100%.
And we fall for it every time.
I love the guy.
It's so crazy. We love the guy. He's a great guy, but Jesus Christ, Jimmy. Okay. Enveloped in minutia. Nothing wrong. I love all sports, Louis. You know that about me. I mean, with the exception, we kid around about soccer. If you love watching soccer, that's fine with me. I don't count. I would be the last guy to tell you to stop wasting your time. Mm-hmm. Although, in my opinion, you are absolutely wasting your time. It's kind of like yesterday was a big debate. Do you sit in a house and watch football? Do you go to some bar somewhere and watch football? I guess the ideal thing would have been find a place like the Bamboo Beach Tiki Bar.
You just chill. The weather too. Yep.
Yeah, because I mean, how do you stay inside on an afternoon like yesterday, Lubie?
No.
Especially if you're looking at Father Time and saying to yourself, geez, if Chuck Woolery, who looked to be the epitome of health, did he not? Chuck Woolery, the game show host,
he passed?
Checked out at 83, yeah.
That sucks.
So I'm thinking that's only 10 years from now for me. 10 more Thanksgivings, 10 more Hanukkahs, 10 more Christmases.
I don't know. He was sort of a fucking lunatic. Like
he was? Did he become yeah, okay.
Yeah, I haven't
went right-wing politics?
Yeah, bad. Like, I don't know. It was a few years ago, but he sort of lost his mind. So I don't know what he was doing.
Sign of Alzheimer's if you're...
I don't know what he was doing in his free time, to be brutally honest. So I don't know if you guys are living the same life.
How many of these clowns are going to get rejected by the Senate?
I don't know, but he's trying. He's trying to see if he can get any through.
What kind of circus is this?
It's fucking dumb.
Same. All right, so there's going to be a great week, and we'll have some fun. I guess we'll do this show through Wednesday. Tony Segreto is going to join us today because he's going to be traveling, or he is already traveling to do some family events there. He's heading, I think, for Atlanta, Georgia, and then straight up the highway to Vermont, going back up there.
Yes.
For the holiday. So he's going to join us in a few minutes. Tony's segment, always brought to you by Texas Roadhouse Restaurants, which Ed Garcia will be with us as well. Be curious to hear his breakdown. Where do you stand right now with college football, Lubie? What do you think?
I don't know what the fuck to do. Like this weekend was fucking weird. I thought the SEC would work itself out. I didn't realize they would do the opposite where everyone would lose. So we're in the same spot just now with 3 losses instead of 2. Like A&M losing, Ole Miss losing, Alabama losing. Like it's I think Texas will find their way in, but now Texas's quarterback may be out. So do they get the Florida State treatment? Probably not, even though they should, because if you're without your quarterback, you're not the same team. Which what Florida State had to hear last year, even though they kept fucking winning and were undefeated. Yeah, I presume they're going to get 4 teams. I just don't know what for. Like South Carolina's charging, but they have 3 losses. Tennessee's played okay, but they have 2 losses. You know, like everyone has at least 2 losses. Bama now has 3, but they're going to make Bama like 13th. So it's like, I don't know what they're trying to shoehorn in at 4, maybe 5, and they don't have the records for it. And then the Big Ten, I think Indiana should be in no matter what. They're a 1-loss team, but the one good team they played, they got fucking annihilated by. Like they were never in that game versus Ohio State.
What about Notre Dame? Are you giving any consideration?
They're in. I mean, they have 1 loss.
Oh, I understand about being. I'm talking about winning it. You have to be in it to win it. Obviously, they're going to get in there.
No one else is impressive. Georgia is limping to the finish. Texas is limping to the finish. Tennessee, the same thing. Notre Dame is one of the Notre Dame and SMU are the 2 teams.
Doesn't impress me. I mean, they were lucky to beat Minnesota.
They fuck around, and they haven't played anyone. Notre Dame and SMU are the 2 teams that have played really well for like a long time now, and people just sort of ignore both of them. I never do a Notre Dame. Whenever Notre Dame plays well down and gets to this place, we've seen they get to like a playoff or a championship, and they get fucking rocked by the other playoff contending teams. Freeman is the coach now. It's not Kelly, so maybe he's different. I don't know. Notre Dame's actually played as well as anyone, and you don't really.
If they don't lose that game to Northern Illinois, are they the number 1 in the country?
Yeah, they're undefeated. Yeah, for sure.
They've outscored their opposition by 301 points.
Maybe so. Oregon's 1 and they're 2. They'd be 2 in the country.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, how did that ever happen in Northern Illinois? At that time, you were thinking, Jesus, Freeman guy, he's just not cut out for this. Where dig up Jerry Faust if you can. But and a very impressive guy, somebody that you would definitely, if you hear Freeman talk, Notre Dame head coach, you hear him speak, you're thinking, I don't even care. I could be an Orthodox Jew. I want to send my kid there, play for the Fighting Irish and the Catholics there at Notre Dame. But yeah, he had all of these weird, inexplicable losses leading up to this year, and then loses to Northern Illinois, and you're thinking, here we go again. But they've been dynamite ever since. All right, let's say hello to Tony Segreto, and then we'll take a quick break and come back with full-blown Tony Segreto, brought to you by Texas Roadhouse Restaurants. Do we have Tony? Can we punch him in here around Lubie? Very good. Tony Segreto, ladies and gentlemen. There he is. Wow, looking good, kid.
Good morning.
How are you? How are you, Tony? You look fresh.
Fine and dandy, getting ready to go.
Very nice, my friend. How was your weekend?
It was great. It was, I had the same conundrum you all did. Do I stay in and watch football, or do I go outside and enjoy the day?
I mean, it was so beautiful outside.
It was perfect. And
yes.
Today is perfect too. I mean,
looks like it.
Yeah. There's no humidity. There's just, it's ideal. It's ideal. So I opted for listening to the game on the radio.
Oh, Jesus.
Going outside.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
We love Jimmy Cephalo as a human being, but that might be honestly, I don't know. I don't want to say this because I really, we have a lot of respect for Jimmy and what he's gone through. But Jesus Christ, that is a rough broadcast. You have no idea what's going on. I mean, at any time.
No comment.
And the radio broadcast, I don't know if it's as meaningful as it was. Well, it obviously isn't as important as it was like years ago when, look, Rick Weaver was like the king of this town as a radio play-by-play guy. Everybody knew
Rick Weaver and Sonny Hirsch.
Right. And
because Sonny was, you walked into the booth and he looked at the flip card. I mean,
he wasn't Mr. Preparation, that's for sure.
He looked at it, boom, and he did the game flawlessly.
It's good. He was spot on a lot of his calls, and a character of all time, no doubt about that. Weaver was actually, I mean, he had a couple of those corny phrases that became very popular, but I believe him to have been, at least this is how I remember it. He was actually a very accurate play-by-play caller. No?
Oh yes, he was.
Yeah.
Yes, he was. Yes.
Hank was on the color.
That was an O-cut, Rick.
Well, I remember Hank ever saying, "That was an O-cut." I'm like, "An O-cut? What did a guy? He ran around in a fucking circle."
What's an O-cut? Is a
Yeah.
guy running in circles?
Yeah. But I would have to say, very, very tough. You almost need an interpreter to figure out what's going on.
Cephalo. Oh, yeah.
Jimmy, it's unfortunate, but that's the way it goes. All right, we're going to come back with Tony Segreto in just a moment. Ed Garcia is going to join us as well. What would you say, Tony? Is this the beginning of the end for the year in terms of doing any meaningful business, or are people still operating as if it was business as usual? Because seems like everybody checks out Thanksgiving week. No,
come Wednesday, forget it. It's
over.
Yeah. You may have
Monday, at work.
You'll have today and tomorrow to do some business, and then boom.
All right. We're going to come back with Tony Segreto in a moment here on the show. Now that
The time
8:35.
Here, let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
What we gonna do right here is go back, way back into time.
We are now kicking it old school with the one and only Tony Segreto. Brought to you by Texas Roadhouse.
Tell me, doctor.
All right, welcome back to the show. Good to be with you. Tony Segreto joining us here for an early week edition of Old School with Tony Segreto, brought to you by Texas Roadhouse Restaurants. I don't know if you caught any of this. The end game, it turned out to be just an absolute clown show. The end game of the Arizona State BYU game, which was a big game for both schools in terms
Huge for that conference in the playoffs.
Championship and playoff implications. So, had a small betting interest in Arizona State. Was laying 4.5 points in the game. The Arizona State seemed to be in control of the game. BYU comes back. They have a chance to cut the lead to 3 with a 2-point conversion. They miss it. So now the game's sitting at 5. All right. Arizona State then drives the ball and appears to have really just drained the clock in the process. And they have the ball first and goal at about the 2.5-yard line. So there's maybe a minute and change left in the game. And I believe BYU was down to 2 timeouts. They had used one of their timeouts. So if you're doing the math, could they evaporate the entire clock even with the timeouts? It was going to be close. All right. So what's the easy way to end that ball game? You're up 5 points. You're at the 2.5-yard line. You're moving the ball, and the other team seems to be defeated. Why not just go in and score a fucking touchdown, Tony?
Why not go in and score?
Right? I mean, so they run the first play. They don't get anywhere, and BYU calls a timeout. So now there's like 55 seconds left to go in the ball game. And the next play, he has his quarterback, this guy, Kenny Dillingham, who appears to be a very aggressive, young, up-and-coming, rising coach.
Mike Norvell protege.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
So he decides to have his quarterback drop back like 20 yards.
To then do the knee.
Clock, like a few seconds, and then get tackled, which he did. They call another timeout. But now, instead of second and goal or third and goal from, it would have been third and goal from the 2-yard line, with a chance to go in and score. And even if you go for the 4th down attempt and don't make it, you're still leaving the BYU team 97 yards away from possibly winning the ball game. They need a touchdown to win the fucking game. All right. So instead, he does this again with the fucking quarterback, then gets a penalty. And the next thing you know, he tries to throw a pass instead of punting. They would have punted the ball away, and at best, BYU would have had like 1 second to go from like their own 20-yard line. He has the guy throw a pass to try and eat up the rest of the time. It looks like the time expires, and like 80,000 people storm the field. And it turns out there's 1 second left to go in the ball game.
Oh, they really give them 1
Because
second.
he did this bullshit, instead of just going in for the touchdown and or leaving the
I'm gonna
ball.
kick a field goal.
The field goal wouldn't have been, that significant. He was much better off eating up the time, but he would have been far better off scoring a touchdown.
Yes, and
And then it's over. Then it's over.
Then the game's over. They're
Yeah.
not going to score 2 touchdowns inside of a minute.
It's too much bullshit. Look,
They end up throwing a Hail Mary, BYU, which was just short of the goal line. It was caught at like the 2 by their own
Yes.
player.
yes.
And because this guy decided to get cute with this bullshit, they almost lost the game outright. And
almost lost the game outright, and they should have, because they deserved it. They deserved to
What
lose.
kind of stupidity is that?
Let's put it in the fucking end zone. I'm all for like trying to not rub teams' face in it and also run clock out, but you're doing too much thinking.
This had nothing to do with rubbing a team's
Way
face.
too much thinking. And you know what? I don't know about in that game, but in other games, when the game is out of control, when Notre Dame was up or when Miami is up, you got to let the kids play. And you don't want to run it up, and you run it up if you keep your number ones in.
Yeah, if you're putting third stringers
But
and
if you put the third string in there, they want to score, they want to win, they want to contribute. Let them play.
Yeah.
And-
I think it's more than defendable if you've pulled your starters.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you're throwing bombs on every play, maybe that's a little bit excessive. But if you're just letting these guys do some of the things that they've been practicing, I mean, why put them out there if they're just going to go out there like tackling dummies and lay down at that point? Seems stupid. But this was, I mean, exceedingly stupid. There was nothing to be gained by taking.
So I watched the end of that game.
My
And
God.
It was just, and I was thinking,
I was
did
so
people
happy
have
too
any
when they
money
put
on
that
this
second back
game?
on the clock. Oh, sorry, Tony. No, and I was happy because the guy deserved it. He deserved to lose. I mean, how dumb can you be?
Just run
I
it in.
want to
Just
ask you,
kneel it. Just kneel it, and it is what it is. If you give him 10
They
seconds,
were at the 2-yard line. I mean, the guy, with all the momentum in the world, a touchdown ices the game.
he
Even as Lubie said, a field goal makes it an 8-point.
I kick a field. I run the clock all the way down, and I kick a field goal, and then because you want to give them as little time as possible, and you have a touch. They would have to get a touchdown and a 2-point conversion in like 15 seconds. They're not doing.
you don't think they're questioning it at Arizona?
Oh, you would think.
Well, it was crazy. It took them almost 15 minutes to clear the field.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
would that not automatically have thrown like a 5-yard delay of game penalty on the crowd
Yeah.
somehow? I mean, look, they had every reason to believe the game was over too, because
Yeah,
they go to replay and it was like a split second, not even a full second, that should have been left on the clock, rightfully so. But I hate when coaches try to get cute. When I saw that guy running backwards on the second down play, I thought, "What is this guy doing?"
Like, look, when there's 6 seconds left, sometimes they'll have like Mahomes does this, where he'll
Yeah, I
go
understand.
backwards 4 steps for the kneel down as opposed to 2. Okay, it's fucking Patrick Mahomes. I'm sure Andy Reid doesn't even want to do that, but okay, go do that. But Arizona State, like, come on, man. Like, you're trying to pull this conference out of your ass. Like, just put in the fucking end zone, go up 2 scores. I don't give a shit what they do. They're not winning that game.
Imagine the betters' reaction.
Oh
had
my
they lost.
God! Defo, I thought of you. I was wondering if you had any change in the game.
A friend of mine liked Arizona State, so
A friend of yours.
yeah, a guy. I mean, a guy.
Where
that
are
I
all these?
work with.
Where are all these friends? We don't see him, do we, Lubie?
Well, he was right. I mean, he hit it. So I can't
Honestly,
complain. Yeah.
Real quick, does it surprise anybody that Wicked did good at the box office?
No. I was tired yesterday. It was fantastic.
I keep
You
saying
saw
stuff.
it yesterday, Lubie?
Yeah, it was great. Well, my wife's like huge into Wicked. She's been singing it all week. So I bought tickets like a week ago. So we could see it yesterday.
Wow, how was it, Lubie?
It was great. No, it was great.
Yeah.
It was really good. Yeah, it was great.
I'm not even familiar with the details of this movie.
It's a prequel to The Wizard of Oz, or a prequel / it ends up syncing up with The Wizard of Oz, and it tells the story of the Wicked Witch.
It's been on Broadway for years. I saw it on Broadway
Since 2000.
What's it called? The Wizard?
It's called Wicked. It's just called straight up Wicked.
Okay. All right. Very good. Yeah. No, I'm not inclined. I'm
how's Gladiator do?
Culturally bankrupt at this point, Tony. I mean, all I do is gamble on horses and go to the beach. That's it. All right, we're going to come back with. Oh no, we did that. We're going to bring it in.
Texas Roadhouse, right?
We're a little out of sorts here, Ed. How are you, my friend?
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning, Ed. How are you?
I was just looking at a little college football scenario outline, and it does appear you're back in the spotlight, Ed Garcia. I mean, I had a friend many years ago. He was a physical therapist. He was treating me for some injury I had, and he was a huge Jet fan. And he said to Jet fans at that time, they were playing 16 games. He said a good season for the Jets still is 2-14, as long as those 2 wins are against the Dolphins. So is that what applies now with Michigan and Ohio State? And do you give your guys any chance of springing what would be a monumental upset?
No, it'd be huge.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't checked the odds this morning. I did hear it was like 25-1. There might be some pretty good betting odds. I mean,
25-1. Wow, that's good.
OSU is favored by 20 on the hook.
Again, it's it's on the internet, so who knows if it's true or not. But as far as this past weekend, I mean, they played some real football. There was a couple of mistakes here and there, but Davis figured it out. The running game was phenomenal. I mean, we used all sorts of weapons left and right. I mean, they looked like a very cohesive team. But hey, it's a good way to finish. That was the last home game in Ann Arbor, so we are now going down to the toilet bowl. I mean, Ohio State, and
I think it's a
and to play there. Would it be? I mean, I would be the happiest person. You wouldn't probably get a hold of me till like 3 days later for me to sober up. But I don't know. I think we're going to give Ohio State a little bit of a hard time. I mean, heck, Indiana even was giving them a hard time. It was only a quarter, but the Indiana had the run game on them. We have a strong run game with Mullins and Donovan Edwards. So if we do that, we can do that. Our defense was on lockdown. We saw that this past weekend, so that part's really good. But what I'm really excited about is 2025. Did you see the magic behind
it?
Happened. It happened. I've been talking about it for weeks. And Bryce, gave us the middle finger about 4 weeks ago, said, hey, he's not leaving LSU. And I don't know if you heard the whole story. I mean, these are, again, Abraham Lincoln says everything on the internet's not true. But as far as Brady was involved, this billionaire Allison was involved. Thank goodness he's dating a U of M grad, and Dave Portnoy. He took very, very minimal credit, but he said that he wasn't a big financial. But we got 3 major flips in the last 10 days. And we got 2 more allegedly coming. So 2025 is going to be a season to reckon with, and 2026 is going to be insane. But there's going to have to be some parameters. I mean, hey, I'm not complaining right now. They are changing some of the terminology of building a team to buying a team. But
does this include a lifetime freebie at Texas Roadhouse with this court? Will he be eating his own in ribeye every day?
I'm okay with that. That's how I can contribute. That's how I can contribute. I will buy them
dinner. Treatment, beautiful.
Yeah,
that's great. All right, yeah. I mean, it's a whole change. I mentioned this last week, and I recently did an interview with Armin Katayan, great investigative reporter, and he had written a book that Lubie actually read, which was terrific. The System. About college football and the state of affairs, and he had to update that. He has a new book out called The Price, which goes into examining all of the dynamic changes that have taken place, where literally, I mean, it's probably more wide open of a bidding war than you have for NFL free agent players.
And in many cases, they're making more than they can make in the NFL.
I would think, yeah.
No, it's supposedly getting $12 million.
Yep.
Who?
For Bryce Underwood, the number one player in the country, number one quarterback in the country, that was an LSU commit out of Michigan, that Michigan just flipped sort of back because he flirted with Michigan in the early going, and then LSU came in, I think, with like 10 mil. So he went to LSU. Mr. Barstool, I think, threw in 3, and then there's a bunch of other people that came together to get him $12 million for just his freshman year.
That's a 1-year deal.
Yes, yeah. Every
Wow.
NIL is year to year. Like, that's the thing, and there's no contract. It's not, that's the problem with the NIL. And look, there's going to be a lot of things to come in the future about it, just because I don't care if the kids get paid, but the numbers are just weird, and there's no transparency, so you don't know what they're doing. And there's no, from the other end, where like at least there's a contract in the NFL, right? You have to live up to this, or we can cut you. There's no contract. Like, a lot of the time the kids half-ass their end, so the programs themselves don't know how to implement this and that. And so, like, there's a lot of stuff up in the air with it, and they're going to have to rein it in, just like they're going to have to rein in the transfer portal. But yeah, the professor and I were talking about this. Outside of like first round picks, high line players are going to get way more in college than in the pros. Like, and again, just being a great player doesn't mean you're going to get drafted in the first round. So like, you really have to, it's what Cam Ward did. Like, Cam Ward was going to be a 3rd, 4th rounder last year. Now this year he'll be a top first round pick, but he's going to be a 3rd, 4th rounder. He's like, screw that. Like, Miami, I think, gave him like 4 to 6 million, something like that. Like, he wasn't making that in the 3rd, 4th round. Like, literally, you make more in college right now if you are not a first round pick. That's just 100% the case.
It also doesn't include all the freebies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We don't even know the other stuff they're still doing. Cars, planes.
But there's no regulation for it.
There's
That's
no
the weird thing.
regulation. None.
I mean,
Right.
there is zero controlling bodies. Not that there necessarily has to be, but it does seem like it's created beyond a chaotic situation. So good for you, Ed Garcia. You had the guys. That's great, and let's hope you knock off Ohio State this week. That'd be a fantastic development as well. Are you seeing anything? I mean, we're trying to figure out who really should be favored to win it all. Like who's ultimately, if you had to pick a team that was going to win the championship this year. We don't know all of the final details of who's going to be in the playoff, but you have a general idea. And maybe there'll be a couple of switches there in the last 3 or 4 teams. And there could be a change of position, obviously, with the way they're seeding the brackets now, as you keep seeing Miami getting the bye. And I keep waving them bye-bye, thinking that they're gonna lose to SMU, as Lubie has predicted. Well, although Lubie's emphatic belief that SMU will clobber the University of Miami, Ed, does that give you a lean to think that Miami probably wins that game?
I think that one's going to be a nail biter for sure. If I had to put my money down on someone right now, I mean, it's going to be a mix-up, I feel, but I feel Oregon and Texas are probably the ones where I'm going to put my money on. I know Texas has had a couple of games that struggled, but they won it. They've been very close the last couple of years. They do have the depth. They have 2 quarterbacks. They got a couple of different weapons that they could use, to take them there. And, the other teams, Miami, SMU, even, Ohio State, I feel strength of schedule hasn't been the greatest for them. I mean, they had a couple of good games, Penn State, but those were nail biters too. I mean, Penn State, I think, hey, I'm not complaining. There's a lot of Big Ten up there. I mean, granted, what is it today? The Big 18, really? But there's a couple of teams out there that I think are just going to fall by the wayside as the tournament begins. But I don't know. If I had to put money, it's going to be between Oregon and Texas right now. I want to see 1 or 2 more games and kind of see how that goes.
I had to look at the screen here. It sounded like Tony was blowing a vuvuzela.
They're mowing the lawn. They're mowing the lawn.
Yeah, right. That's what's happening. Okay. What were you going to say, Tony?
I don't. I don't even know. Oh, Ed, let's talk about Texas Roadhouse a minute.
Almost set the tone for the holidays. Yes.
You open on Thanksgiving?
We actually are not open on Thanksgiving. Those are one of the 2 days we're closed. We're closed that day, and we are closed Christmas Day. I will tell you, these next 3 days are some of the busiest 3 days that we have. And, so come in, check out your local Texas Roadhouse. Make sure to use your mobile app, because I can tell tell you right now, we're going to hit 1 to 2 hour waits. I don't want that to scare you off because you could be like Lubie and you're going to block and tackle all the way up to the bar and get yourself a big fishbowl margarita and enjoy that. But if you use the mobile app, I mean, it's going to tell you what time to be there, and we get you sat within 15 minutes. I mean, there's nothing better than that. You get the fresh baked bread, hand-cut steak, made from scratch sides. Can't go wrong. Black Friday, though, I will throw that out there. I can't tell you what the deals are. They're all a little bit different, but Black Friday, if you want to pick up some early Christmas gifts, I would go and buy some gift cards at your local Texas Roadhouse. Some of them open as early as 6 a.m. just for the gift cards.
Wow.
That will not be me. I am not there, but they do have, I mean, I have a couple of restaurants that will do over $30K in gift cards on Friday.
Wow. Gift cards.
And I mean, it's a great stocking stuffer. You can do them as low as $5 and you can do them as high as 100. I mean, you can do multiple, things of 100, but great stocking stuffers, easy gift for coworkers. And there still is time. If you want to put, Lubie's face on every gift card, you can do that as well. So I don't know if they'd call that a gag gift, right? We put Lubie on there.
Yeah. Will those be honored?
Hey, what does Ed Garcia do for Thanksgiving?
I'm the standard fry the turkey. I've been doing it for almost.
Oh, you do fry your
years.
own turkey? Oh, crap.
Oh yeah. I started the tradition, probably a little over 20 years ago when I actually was living in Toledo, Ohio at the time. So this is got to be 02, 03. And I started the tradition and I've gotten very good at it. I fry about a dozen a year.
Oh, wow.
And just kind of, I've got it down to a science. I do a brine, whole 9 yards. I'm going to smoke a couple of items. I do have a couple of smokers and, just a big feast. So if you're nearby, hit me up.
That sounds great.
Sounds wonderful. I
here on the show.
I can find a way to be nearby.
I may opt out of my family gathering and come to your house.
Yeah. There we go. We're going to do that with the Lions win.
Yes.
I mean, man, the injuries on the Lions is a little bit intense, but, Dan Campbell, I mean, what a post-game
really
yesterday after the Colts. By the way, I got to watch, I was at the Dolphins game, so kind of had the Lions going on the phone on the side, but Dolphins looked pretty fire. I mean, his completion percentage was on fire. The connections, I mean, just it was a good weekend of football. And I left. I got on the bus and I got to watch that last second of the Commanders game.
Oh my God!
My wife screamed. I was like, "Holy cow! 84 yards! That comes the field goal!" And I was like, "Oh, we just gave it all up." So.
You did. Yes, you did.
The only salvation now watching the end of that ball game, unfortunately, we didn't get to see Jerry Jones in agony, but I was handed the Cowboys plus 10.5. So it was a situation. But then you're hoping they lose, so you can see just absolute exasperation on the face of Jerry Jones after yet another loss. And you would have thought they won the Super Bowl after snapping a 5-game losing.
You would have thought they won the Super Bowl.
Off the field. He must know that it's over. Just the way he was, just absolutely loving, every second of this big win, which put them nowhere except, back on the drawing board to figure out what they're going to do next year. Ed, always a pleasure, man. Have a great Thanksgiving. Thanks for joining us on Monday.
Ed.
Appreciate
Thank
that.
you. Have a great Thanksgiving. Talk soon.
Let's go through on this one. We'd love to see the upset over Ohio State. That'd be great.
That would be great.
All right, Tony. So what? Are you on the road? Are you hitting the road? What's
I'm
going
hitting
on?
the road. When we get done here, I got a few more things to pack away, and then I'm on the road for Atlanta.
Okay.
I'll probably stop in Gainesville tonight. And
Gainesville. Okay.
Well, it's on the way. It's sort of a city.
Yeah.
Little.
Yeah.
All
right,
Sort of a city.
you make these drives in one day, though, Tony. Atlanta, it's like the first you would stop there to pee, and that was it, and then go on.
Well, if it was going to Vermont, he probably would stop in
Vermont.
No, if I was going to Vermont.
to Atlanta, so might as well stop on the way there.
Gainesville. Wow. What do you do there, Tony? You've been there, no doubt, many times. I was.
What do I do there? I go.
I don't recall anything special happening except I couldn't wait to get out of it.
If you're a kid, it's good. But.
Yeah.
I check in, I eat, and I go to bed.
And get the hell out of there.
That's what I do.
It was a 3-game series when the Canes were playing baseball against us, which and so you had 3 days there in
Jesus.
in Gainesville. not the most exciting of.
Oh my God!
I much prefer going to the Sugar Bowl.
It was, yeah. It was awful. It was god awful to spend those 3 days,
I don't
4
remember
days there.
anything distinct about it. I really don't. I can't tell you that I ever
Well,
did.
there isn't anything distinct about it. No. Did I say that really?
Yeah. All right, so you're going to be there today, and then off to Atlanta. Well, we wish you the best.
Happy
And
Thanksgiving. We love you.
of course, have a great Thanksgiving.
Safe travels.
Happy
please.
Favorite
Thanksgiving.
holiday of all, favorite meal of the
Is it-
year as well. So
Where are you going? Where are you going, Jeff?
I'll be right here. I'll be spending it with my son and his family, and the
Nice.
rest of his wife's family as well. And should be a lot of fun. It's a traditional Thanksgiving.
And
For the last
Lubie, what are you doing?
My mom goes crazy. She started cooking last week. So we will be there. And then my sister-in-law moved to Orlando. And I guess we have to go there too. Her moving
Jesus.
there, I don't know why that means I have to go to Orlando, but I guess we have to go to Orlando too. So she doesn't want to drive down here for Thanksgiving and Christmas, even though I didn't tell her to move to fucking Orlando. So we have to go to Orlando to do a second Thanksgiving Friday.
Sucks too when you're bitter the whole way up there, and it's just as bitter
It's fine. I love
on
it.
the drive back.
Her dad and I like have we get the three of them are insane. My wife, my sister-in-law, and my mother-in-law.
Not
So
speaking to the wife all the way up.
oh no, we're fine. It's great
Okay.
because my father-in-law can commiserate, and we just the whole time are like, "What the fuck are they doing?" So
Yeah.
I actually enjoy being with them because we can be together with the three loons. So I actually enjoy being with my in-laws. I'm trying to wrap my head around why I'm going to Orlando this weekend.
Does seem like a waste of
It'll be
time.
fine. It's
Maybe
whatever.
Disney probably be empty Thanksgiving week.
I'll be there next week. Honestly, I mean,
All right, Tony, you have a great one, man. Thanks.
I will.
You're
Always
welcome.
good.
Safe
Tony
travels.
Segreto, ladies and gentlemen. Tony Segreto. Brought to you by Texas Roadhouse Restaurants. All right, Lubie, we got through one day here. Be home today for the Mike Mayo Lunchbox Show.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
where was this taking place tomorrow? I forgot the Lunchbox.
That's a wonderful question.
mentioned it,
Let me put it in here.
I know we got Wednesday there at Wicked Cheesesteaks, Friday back at the track. Couldn't figure out where we're going tomorrow because I'm trying to figure out my week here.
We're gonna be somewhere tomorrow.
All right, let me know.
Yeah,
All right,
you'll-
I'll see you 1 o'clock. All right, thanks everybody for tuning in. We're 1 day closer to the big Turkey Festival. So, and of course, we'll try and nail that Turkey Day three-way parlay on the NFL games. Dolphins involved in a very curious spot, are they not? Against the Packers? That should be fun.
Oh no, the Packers are playing really good football. It's
Yeah.
fucking annoying, but look,
Today against San Fran.
it's time to see them play well versus a good team. You have Tua playing the
On
best
the road,
football of his career. The
Yeah.
offense is finally a real offense, not just fucking trickery dickery, flash in the pan, all or nothing. They're actually moving the ball. They're running
Yeah.
the ball. They're playing smart, and the defense sucks. so we'll see.
Yeah. No team worse right now than the New York Football Giants, huh? Tommy Cutlets, they. I keep thinking of the line Cinderella Man, right? Where the Max Baer character. Oh, Max Baer actually was the guy. Yeah, Max Baer Jr. Was upset about this because they portrayed Max Baer as just a sinister, evil bastard. But he looks at Renee Zellweger, and who was playing the wife of Russell Crowe's Cinderella Man, James J. Braddock, and says, "People die in fairy tales too."
100%.
And that could be Tommy Cutlets from
Oh
yesterday.
yeah.
That was some ugliness. All right, we'll see you next time as we leave you know that.
The time.
9:03.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.